to jump in and get it. So let me share my little screen here. Okay, can everybody see that? Okay. Okay, so we know we're in part 2 of month 2, which is heart-centered marketing. So, I mean, you guys, I think have noticed by now, I always like to start with a little quote or quotes. Um, but when it comes to marketing, this is not stuff that's really normal to us. If you did not go to school for a marketing degree or anything like that, marketing can be really scary, because it's this, people spend decades learning this stuff. So when it comes to people like us, women, small businesses, especially a spiritual business and marketing, you need to keep practicing until the fear of it turns to joy, because this is just not something that was inherently bred into us as children, as women, and as spiritual souls. So keep practicing until the fear turns into joy. And I know I'm oversimplifying that like a bajillion different ways, but just keep remembering that this is a trial and error approach. You're not failing, you're doing a great job. And even if it feels like you're clawing forward by your fingernails, you're doing a great job. And then the flip side of that is continue to heal. And we do inner child healing next week because we pushed it back, but continue to heal from all of the experiences in your life that taught you you couldn't have it all in your own way, because it's a lie. You literally can have it all, what you desire in your own way, in whatever way that success wants to look like for you, or whatever you want your life to look like. You literally really can have it. And I know that's probably bringing up a whole bunch of thoughts of like, no, I can't, or what is this bitch talking about? Those are limiting beliefs. They are not you. They are lies that your brain has taken on to keep you safe. And today's not an inner child healing day, but just remember that, because marketing can be incredibly challenging, confusing, and annoying. And why do I even need to freaking learn to do this? So just remembering all of that. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to go through a whole bunch more examples, because I know this works best with lots of examples. We're going to do an IG tutorial. We're going to talk more about selling on Instagram and more about creating momentum to sell on Instagram, and talking a little bit between selling on Instagram versus selling on a website, because they're different. You guys are probably mostly here because, well, I know we all know each other from Instagram, and you might have a desire to sell on Instagram. So that is going to be very different than selling on a website, but we will get into that. So I wanted to go first through some more kind of fear-based things, and then how to flip them to more heart-led examples. But I chose things that are a little bit more in the middle. They're not as clearly, screaming fear. I think we made our point last week of the things that very clearly screamed fear. And now these are some things that are more like kind of that weird nuancy. They kind of live in the middle. They might not make you feel weird, but I know they make me feel weird a little bit. So if you ever encounter anything as you're scrolling through Instagram and you're like, oh, this really big person is saying that, but why does that make me feel weird? So you can kind of see where you live in terms of like, oh, that feels great in my system, or that feels weird to me. So these are some more of those middle nuancy ones. So anything with the word should, why you should have 9 oranges in your home, that's super normal feng shui tip. Have a bowl of 9 red oranges in your kitchen. The word should, and this all comes from Brene Brown's really groundbreaking research. The word should creates a little bit of shame, because it's like, well, why should I? And then if you look around your space with this word should, it creates a very firm expectation. Should is like, well, you should feed yourself every day. Like, we know we need to eat every day. So for something that's not a basic need, clothing, food, shelter, clean water, why should we be doing it? So it creates this expectation of oh no, I'm not good. I'm not perfect unless I have XYZ. So it can create a little bit of fear and almost like, okay, well, why? In people's bodies. Because then when somebody looks around their home and we say you should have clean windows, you should have a bowl of 9 oranges, you should have. Then when people don't have those things, they don't have access to those things, or they don't have money for those things. It's expensive to keep buying fresh oranges every week. It's expensive to buy fresh flowers every week. So it creates this dichotomy between what an ideal example of feng shui should be, and it creates space between where she thinks she needs to go, and it just widens the gap, and it makes people feel kind of bad. So that's why just be careful if you're using the word should, or if you happen to be scrolling Instagram and you see something that says should, and you're like, ooh, that makes me feel weird. There might be some more nuance in there for you.
I'm going to pop in. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that resonates. And I didn't realize that's what it did.
Mm-hmm.
That resonates. So I wrote that down. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Totally. It creates this expectation. And then
Yeah.
you feel like you're failing if you haven't met it.
Yes.
Mhm.
So
This goes for
sorry.
any post on Instagram. No, not at all. Hop in. This goes for any post on Instagram, not just feng shui posts. And I'm going to be very honest. When I was putting this together over the weekend, I literally scrolled Instagram and I pulled these from people's posts. Like, this is still happening. Like, these are not posts from 6 years ago. Like, I pulled these from people's posts. So I'm not saying who. I don't want to throw any blame or shame anywhere. I just want to say, like, why these maybe are not as empowering for the wisdom that we channel as feng shui practitioners, and why it's maybe not as empowering for the people that we would like to help and heal. So when was the last time you space cleared? This can be used in any way. When was the last time you cleaned? When was the last time you decluttered? When was the last time you opened up your drawers and saw what was in there? So this isn't necessarily wrong. It can make you feel a little bit of some sort of way. And what that kind of does is it tells her something that she's missing out on, but it doesn't really tell her why space clearing is really empowering for her, why it's something she maybe wants to be doing or should be doing. Again, I use the word should, but why it's an empowering habitual practice for her. It just kind of makes you feel a little threatened. Well, when was the last time it just feels very direct, at least in my body. It throws me back a little bit and I'm like, I don't know. So and if something like this, as you're writing, flows out of you, it does not mean you're bad. It does not mean that at all. It just means that we live in this ecosystem of feng shui practitioners on Instagram where we're taking in these things that are being said, but I'm just starting to nudge you a little bit to pay attention to what is coming out of you and saying, like, oh, why do I keep writing it that way? Why do I keep saying it that way? Because it might not be you and your innate wisdom flowing through. It might just be something we've picked up along the way, right? We all tend to start writing and sounding like each other because we're in each other's energy every day on Instagram. I'm seeing what y'all post, you're seeing what I post. And we tend to kind of pick up these little things. That's very human. But I also just want to call your attention to, what are you saying? And do you really mean it in the way you're saying it? So here's the next one. Stagnation is the cause of all sickness. Okay. We know this, right? We know stagnation is like one of the worst things for your home. That's why we always talk about energy flow and moving 27 things. But we know that. But when we present it to her like this, that's a little fear-based for me, at least in my body. It's like, how can we say this in a more empowering way? Instead of stagnation is the cause of all sickness. That feels very shame and blaming. Like, if somebody was diagnosed with cancer tomorrow, would it really help that person to say, well, your home must be stagnating. That's why you have cancer. No, we would never say that, right? That's a really tough thing for somebody to hear on the other side of it. You know, if I were to say this to myself, like stagnation is the cause of all sickness, and that's why I have tummy troubles, like it's important for me to know that, but this isn't the best and most empowering way to say it. So it's asking yourself, is this the best and most empowering way to say it? If I was reading this, how would it make me feel? So, and then the last one are business slogans. This one is really funny because I see this all the time. You know, my feng shui is simple, mine's modern, mine's effective. What's the flip side to that? What are we really saying here? So we're saying, oh, work with me because my feng shui is simple, modern, and effective. So what's the flip side? We're saying that feng shui is complicated, old, and doesn't work. That's a limiting belief within us that feng shui doesn't work, that it's too complicated, that I need to simplify it down so far for you to understand it. What that's really saying also is we don't trust our audience to understand what we're saying. So there's a whole lot of limiting beliefs in this, and I am not throwing that out there in case anybody has been using these as slogans. I did too when I first started. I was using something that was like ancient wisdom for modern people, and I've modernized feng shui. And by saying these things, I'm actually saying my limiting beliefs that I don't think you'll get feng shui if I actually show it to you in all of its divine nuance, in all of its beauty of balancing. So just being careful with the slogans that we pick up from other people, because this is very, very, very all over the place. Simple, modern, and effective. Just ask yourself, what am I really saying here? Do I really want somebody to take away from my post that feng shui is really complicated, old, and doesn't work? And that they need to work with me because I will fix it for them? We're not fixing feng shui. Feng shui is perfect. We're just finding a new way of expressing the wisdom through us. Any questions with that? Cool. Okay. So this next is a couple of examples from, remember how we said, so the new vision formula is instead of leading with the method, we lead with the clear problem and the outcome. So this is a few that I pulled from Instagram of posts that led with a really unclear method and how we can flip them. So the first one is your front door is really important. We know that. She doesn't know that. So this was literally the first sentence of a post. It said, your front door is really important. That's not going to land in her world. That's great for us to know. That doesn't really communicate to her why she needs to pay attention to her front door, why it's important, and why she needs feng shui right now. So you can flip it by saying, well, we know what the outcome of paying attention to your front door is. So you make a piece of content out of it that says why sweeping your front door is the money-making activity you've been waiting for. This could have literally said anything. There are so many different outcomes that, you know, let's say sweeping your front door, paying attention to your front door, putting a wreath on your door does. So you're just taking that outcome and leading with that instead of leading with your front door is really important. This could also say why this spring season, a wreath on your door will, what do I want to say? Here's why this spring season, a red wreath on your door will make your life feel wonderful. I don't know, I'm making shit up now. But you can see there that you're giving her more specifics. And she's like, okay, well, why do I need a red wreath on my door? And then you get to explain, well, red is this most potent color and why the front door is so important. So let's try another one because I know these are such a huge shift. And literally, this is a shift that took me like a year. But I want to chop down that time for y'all because I was just sitting in my feelings for a year of like, why does none of this feel right? Why does all of this sound so wrong? Why am I not making any money? So here's the next one. This literally I pulled off of somebody's reel. It literally just said, it was a little video of flowers in a market, and it said fresh flowers are always a good idea. Okay, that's really lovely. I always have flowers. I have some right now on my desk. But that's not really telling her why she needs to work with you, what she's getting out of it, why feng shui, why now. So you could flip it by saying, well, what do we know flowers do? They bring us joy. And they kind of, at least for me, they help pull me out of a funk. I love looking at them. So you could start off your post, your reel, whatever it is, your email, feeling down in the dumps. Why buying flowers for yourself might pull you out of a funk. Here's the feng shui wisdom. Flowers do blah, 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 blah. And this helps you blah, 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 blah. How's that landing? I've got 2 more examples, but I don't want to go too fast because this is really the switch.
For me personally, this has been the hardest thing to flip it and really, so this is really good. And I like the examples because it helps me reframe it in my head.
Is there something that you've been struggling to flip?
I don't know why. I mean, because I've done that. Fresh flowers are always good. I've done the front door is important, but it's getting, essentially it's that the problem, right? And I have a really hard time flipping the narrative in my head, and I don't know why.
No, I've gotcha. I've gotcha. And it's not, you're not doing anything wrong.
Like you said, it took
Can
you a
we-
year. I've been trying to do this for 2 years, and I'm like, oh, thank God we're going to do marketing.
We're doing it. So this is when
Can we work through an example together?
totally. Actually, I have some, we're going to work through some examples in just a minute or so. But if you guys have examples too, let's do that.
I have one.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Well, I've been thinking about it being winter and water season and how we're kind of we're over the hump, but it's still like, this is like the hard part. And I noticed I had a thought about red flowers for Valentine's. Like that is a great way to bring fire element into your home. And so I thought about like taking a picture of, the grocery store with all the red flowers. And I wanted to talk about, why bringing red in would be great at this time of year.
Yes. Okay. That's beautiful. Let me open up just a Word doc. Let's start just brainstorming here. Why are you doing that to me? Okay. Let me just start a new Word doc. And then share my little screen again. Okay. So you've been musing on winter and water season. And so your feng shui shift is red flowers to add fire energy. What might someone be feeling right now at this kind of last hump of this water yin season? What are some of the things you guys feel at the like depths of winter?
Tired,
Yeah.
tired,
Lethargy.
unmotivated. Yeah.
And this time of year feels dirty to me.
Feels dirty. Interesting. Unpack for me.
Because I'm sitting here looking at my window. I'm in Minnesota. So the snow is melting and I see all the road grime. The trees I can see little tiny baby buds, but they're lifeless right now. So to me, it's kind of dirty, and I can't wait for this time of year, I can't wait for heavy rain, to be really honest.
Do you guys get a lot of geese?
Not yet.
Canadian geese.
They'll be
Kind of
here.
going with that
They're
that dirty one,
little
the snow.
motherfuckers.
Yeah,
Let it out.
I heard
They're
someone
dirty little motherfuckers. Bird poop.
They are
introduced them.
dirty and
Someone
violent.
introduced them into our community and like trained them to come to Fort Collins. So when the snow starts to melt, they come and eat all the grass and just shit all over the sidewalks.
Shit everywhere. My friend, I posted a picture last year or a couple years ago in Vancouver of baby, like there was like 20 baby geese. And I was like, oh, so cute. And my friend wrote back, she's like, we call them little shit something. I don't know. Like they just, yeah, baby shit things, whatever. But yeah, they're dirty. And they can be violent too, right? They can attack you.
Yeah, I've had them
Yeah.
hiss and follow me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they'll chase you if you have a dog.
Yeah, they
And
put a woman in a
I,
hospital here, not here, but in Ottawa. She was
Jesus.
running and one attacked her. Yeah,
Oh my God.
across the road when you see him. Yeah, but anyway, sorry.
So
We digress. But
Yeah.
anyway, it feels
Yeah.
dirty, grimy, and
Dirty.
I'm waiting for the freshness and the rebirth of spring.
got it.
yeah, there's not the green yet.
And cold, like it's cold, like you
Cold.
just want to stay in and not really go out. Yeah.
So I wrote 2 more questions here, especially around the
Mhm.
unmotivated piece, because that feels really juicy. What happens when you guys feel unmotivated? Like what
watch
behaviors do you do
Netflix.
in your home? What?
I watch Netflix.
Okay. You watch
Sit
Net-
around.
Sit around.
It's almost like there's this you have this like desire in your mind to do something but your body doesn't want you to. You just can't get yourself moving to actually physically do things. Like literally you need someone to light a fire under you.
Yeah.
Does that feel frustrating?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It kind
You
of
guys
feeds
have your
the
post.
lethargy.
What about defeats the lethargy?
That like if being frustrated because you can't get anything done, kind of like it's like a snowball effect. You get in a cycle of low energy.
Uh-huh.
So now I want to buy a tulip wreath from my black front door.
Well, there you have a personal feng shui post. Why this dirty time of year is making me desire the freshness of tulips. So I'm going to go buy a wreath. And here's what a wreath does.
Oh God, that's brilliant. I'm writing that down.
So you guys, in 30 seconds, you literally created all your problems. These are the problems that normal people deal with because you're normal people and you're not separate from all of these things that are very fucking annoying at this time of year. February and March are some of the hardest months because it feels like nothing's happening, right? But everyone feels that way. So this doesn't make you weird, wrong, or stupid. This makes you very human to feel these things. I feel these things. Everybody feels these things. So let's start to write some possible posts that are taking these clear problems and applying what Marcia said before about red flowers for fire energy. So let me just write a couple and you guys, and meanwhile, these are free for y'all just to take. Like, you're not like, just take these and you can put these on your own posts too.
Could you start with, do you need a little like do you feel like you need a boost or something, like do you feel you need whatever? Like could you start with something like that or
Yeah, you can. You can totally start with, do you feel like you need a boost?
yeah.
Here, these have a lot of texture. These feel
Mhm.
very visceral, right? We've all binge watched Netflix.
Are you getting tired of your loungewear?
Yeah.
Are your pajamas like tired of, yeah, really ready to ditch the PJs, the
Yeah.
PJs at 4 p.m.?
Feeling ready to. Like, these are so visceral. Like, somebody will absolutely understand, like, oh, I've so been there. Tired of feeling cold and tired?
Yeah.
What's another way of doing this?
Well, I kind of was thinking of the angle of like why maybe red flowers are great at this time of year, and no, it's not just Valentine's or
So let's put together a whole post for you. So which
okay.
one of these would you say is most visceral for you out of all these like problem statements?
Probably Netflix, since that's what I did all weekend.
So what makes
I was sick. I have a little bit of an excuse, but
what was the thing that came into your mind where you were like, oh, I'm so fucking tired of being on the couch and watching Netflix? What did your mind say?
mm,
That's okay if it's not perfect.
actually, I got tired of trying to figure out what to watch.
Even better. So you got tired of just like scrolling. Would you say mindlessly scrolling, or you got frustrated with there
Sure.
being nothing to watch?
Mindlessly scrolling.
Okay. Okay. So this is going to be in my voice. You'll have to change it into your voice, but right? Flowers make us feel better in a hurry. Try this. No, instead, not try. Buy yourself a bouquet of red. What would you buy yourself? Would it be roses, daisies? What would you buy?
It's just red flowers. I like to
Okay.
a mix.
You like your mix. Okay, buy yourself a bouquet of red flowers. Why? In feng shui, so we started with the actual shift. We gave her the piece of wisdom right up front. And now we're going to go into the feng shui why. Why? In feng shui, red is fire energy. Fire energy, you know, however you want to say it, revs up our bodies, reminds us of summer. You know, something like
Reminds us
this
of
is
that sunshine hitting our face.
paint her a picture. Yeah, this is how you will get through those late winter blues. This is supposed to be hurry. What else do I want to say here? So I want to keep this kind of simple, but we can keep expanding this. So here you started with a problem, right? And it's a problem you experience. You're like, I'm so fucking tired of scrolling Netflix. And I feel like I'm like depressed. I'm tired. I'm unmotivated. What can I do? That's very human. And then you went right into buy yourself a bouquet. Ooh, don't want to do that. Buy yourself a bouquet of red flowers. That's the little feng shui shift, the feng shui wisdom. And now here's the feng shui rationale, which is what most people start with, but we're actually now putting it at the bottom, or actually at the end rather. Why? In feng shui, red is fire energy. Fire energy revs up our bodies, reminds us of summer, or however you would want to say it. You know, this counteracts this late watery energy that we have at this time of year. And then remind her, this is how you're going to get through those late winter blues. This will help you feel motivated again. And we can keep obviously expanding on this, but how did that feel?
I think that feels good. And I think that's kind of a good amount. I tend to be I can get really wordy. So I think being about this concise is probably something good for me to aim at.
Yeah, just start there. It doesn't have to be perfect. You could even put this right now on your story as like a feng shui tip of the day.
Mhm.
Oh, I like that.
Or you can just show like, hey guys, I bought myself these red flowers. Here's why. So that's you giving her information, but you're also kind of living out feng shui for yourself. Because Marsha, as you laid on the couch, you were probably like, maybe I'll get myself some red flowers. Right? Something came into your mind where you're like, oh, red flowers would make me feel better. So this is just reverse engineering it for the person to follow you through your thought process. Instead of starting at the end, you start at the beginning. What made you think you needed the red flowers? D, what made you think you needed to paint your office? You know? Does anybody have any, okay, well, first, before I move on, questions with this, because we can do another one.
Because I feel stuck in the mud.
Feel stuck in the mud.
Oh, sorry.
No.
No, what I was going to suggest, which I know you talk about a lot, Stacey, and I've taken this a bit from you too, is like if you post something like that, like have like almost every sentence a different line, like lots of space, as opposed to, like I see a lot of people posting like just big old paragraphs with no space in it, and it's harder to read. Yeah, totally.
So
I
each
find,
each idea is a separate line. That's how I do it. I just tell myself each idea is a separate line. Or you can also think of this as like where I would normally take a breath when I'm like saying something to someone, or just where it feels normal to have a pause in this conversation. Yeah, I do this in every post, in every email, and it helps people get the information across. It helps them stay on your post. It helps them stay reading. Because if it's a big block of text, you will scroll. You all scroll. You're not going to sit there and read a big block of text.
True.
It's tiny. It hurts my eyes.
Yeah.
So
I usually scroll and then decide if I'm going to read it or not.
Yeah. And how long is this?
I'll bookmark it and then never go back to it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I have hundreds of bookmarks.
Tired of scrolling Netflix? Feel like you need something to make you feel better in a hurry? Buy yourself a bouquet of red flowers. Why? In feng shui, red is fire energy. Fire energy revs up your body, reminds us of summer, and that's actually a separate idea. See, I just found something else. That's a separate idea because I went to take a breath. This is how you will get through the late winter blues. This will help you feel motivated again. So yes, putting space between things is huge. Does anybody have another one that they've been struggling to flip? We can do this
My
again.
office.
In what way? Tell me more.
Well, actually, no, because honestly, do you feel stuck? Do you feel, I feel stuck in mud. It's because my damn office is freaking caramel and I have maple woodwork and might as well get the shovel and start scooping. Anyway, yeah, we don't need to do mine.
Oh, that's a great one because you can, people feel it, but that's like feng shui right there, right? You're stuck in the earth element is causing you to feel stuck. Yeah.
You're,
And
and
when
you're recognizing you're surrounded
yeah,
by it.
my walls, my main part of my house are kind of so I've got the darker caramel that you guys can see, and then I have a khaki and then dark brown.
You have so much
Is it
earth
paint
energy.
or
No
is it
wonder you
actually
feel like you're
wood?
in mud.
I am, and my house it's a beautiful dark, I mean, beautiful. I love the decor, but I definitely am craving a little more fire energy, a little more wood energy. I know that last year I bought a gigantic picture of a buffalo, but there's different schools of thought that some think it's earth energy, some think it's fire. What do you guys think buffalo is?
First thing that came,
I
I'd
feel
have
like
to
I'd
see
have
the
to
colors.
see the
Yeah.
picture. Yeah.
It's white and it's just got like a charcoal buffalo on it, but it's got earth colors on it. I bought it because it was a nice bright white in above my fireplace. But yeah, if I took you through my home, you would go, I understand why you think you're stuck in mud.
I think think of it as fire because it's an animal, but like the white sounds like a lot of metal too, right?
Yeah, and it's above my fireplace, which is adding more fire to my wealth area of all places. But yeah, it's metal too. It's both. I need more. And I painted my front door black last year because my front door was kind of a muddy color, dirty, muddy farm color.
So you said something interesting that I want to unpack more. You said, I know I need more fire. I know I need more wood. You're speaking as a feng shui practitioner, but what led you to make that shift in your mind of like, oh, I need fire and I need wood? What were you feeling?
Stuck.
So you feel stuck in the mud. Unpack that more for me. What else are you feeling?
Lack of motivation. It goes to the winter stuff that we were just talking about too. It's I don't feel creative. I don't creativity is a big thing. We're entrepreneurs, being able to think outside the box and just being able to yeah, generate. That's, I was going to say drum up business, but generate creativity so you can actually be a salesperson, because at the end of the day, we're salespeople.
How does this feel in your body? This lack of motivation, this you just feel like you're so stuck. What do you feel in your body?
I just want to go back to bed. So much so it made me yawn.
So it's this like just forget it energy of like, oh, just fucking forget it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I bought tulips this weekend, yellow and red tulips for the kitchen. And I honestly haven't bought flowers for about 6 weeks. And I usually have fresh flowers, but it's been so cold that as soon as I even wrap them up, take them from the store to get them home, they don't last but a few days. And a few of you get that. But Fort Collins gets really warm. You get warm fast, unlike me.
Yeah. We fluctuate, I think, more.
Yes, you do.
Like today's going to be like 50, but last week it was like 10.
Oof.
Yep.
And below 0 at nights.
We fluctuate not that much though. You definitely fluctuate more. But
so
yeah,
My sister-in-law's in Wisconsin, so I
oh,
follow that weather line.
you totally get it.
So Dee, let's unpack this for you a little bit more. So you basically, in just listing out all of the things that you were feeling and thinking, you have all of your problem, your problem statement, so to speak. And so when you said, I know I need fire, I know I need wood, what are you actually saying? Let's flip it to the desired outcome. When you need fire and wood, what are you actually saying?
I need to rev me up. I need to, I want growth. I want to see growth. I want to expand.
What does expanding feel like in your body?
I don't understand what it feels in my body.
So when
Unpack
you
that for me.
tell me
I'm
that
sorry.
again. No, what?
So help me with that.
Yeah, so let's unpack that. So a feeling of expansion. So you're talking about wood, right? It's just this like almost like a breath of fresh air.
Oh,
How does it feel in your body to have this feeling of growth and expansion and just like, oh, thank God when the season shifts? What does that feel like to you personally?
that I'm breaking out of the mold, that I'm freedom, breaking out of
Freedom,
the mud.
free. No more mud.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then what about for fire? What was like that desired outcome that made your feng shui brain say, oh, I need fire here?
Really just sparking creativity for me. It's just sparking all of this knowledge I know that I have and that resides inside of me. It's releasing them. So the fire and the wood is releasing this pent up need to help people. So
Okay. So you've got your wood, you've got your fire desired outcomes. So let's put this together, knowing that your feng shui wisdom is going to be, I mean, there could be a lot of things here, but what you first brought up was going to be painting your office from browns to, let's just say greens. I know you're still not sure which color you're going to do, but some sort of green color. So how you'd create a post around this, an email, anything at all. So you're going to just take your problem statements, feel like you're stuck in the mud, feel like and this is where you can inject your personality. So I would say something like, if this was me, I feel like you can't get shit going. Feel like it's 2 steps forward and 4 steps back. You don't have to use all of these. These are just examples.
yeah.
Feel like you just want to go back to bed.
I keep yawning.
Yeah, you're moving energy. Good. And just say,
yawning.
fuck it all. You don't have to curse, by the way. That's just me. But feel like you want to go to bed and just say, oh, forget all of this. It's like, I know how you're feeling. Or you can add in some sort of little texture like that of like, oh my God, I know, I've been there. You want to feel growth and movement in your life.
When we say you want to feel or you desire, is that like a should to them?
I don't think so, because this is really just, and can be one of those things where you're like, oh, this feels internally weird to me.
Right.
But for me, that because we're not using the word should, we're just helping her to see and connect the dots between like, oh, I feel so fucking awful. What's the flip to that? You're helping her to see that like anybody who reads this is going to be like, yeah, I feel awful right now too. Yeah, I want to feel more growth. I want to feel more creativity. And then you're going to offer your little piece of feng shui wisdom of, okay, I want you to paint your office, or I want you to go and look to see how much brown you have in your home. Here's why brown might be holding you back. Here's why I want you to go paint your office. You're really just calling her in and saying, like, here's the problem you might be experiencing, and here's the feng shui solution to it.
Yeah.
So you're not using the word should in the way of like, your home should have these colors. Your office should never be brown. Your office should only be green. You know what I'm saying? Because then she's not coming to that realization herself. You're just kind of telling her what she should be and who she should be in her home. And that doesn't feel good for anybody. But you're just showing her right now what's possible through feng shui.
Got it. Okay. That was good.
Awesome.
So would you even say paint your office green, or would you personalize it? Like, I'm planning on painting my office green because this is where I'm at.
So you can do this a lot of different ways. You can certainly write a post that's very personal of like, I'm painting my office green. You could even say in this post of like, I'm choosing to paint my office green, but if you don't like green, here's some other colors you could choose from.
Yeah.
Blues, purples, also wood energy. So it doesn't always have to be like, here's how I'm doing it and here's how you have to do it. You can say both. Here's how I'm doing it. But if that doesn't feel right to you, here's some other ways you can do it. Because what you're doing then is you're empowering her to make a decision in her space for herself. Instead of saying, well, if you want growth and new opportunities, this must be green. We know that's not the case. It could be blue, it could be purple. You don't have to do a color at all. You could just do shapes. So it's creating a little more flexibility for her and choosing something that works for her. How's that land?
It helps when we do this.
Cool. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
That question mark. So these are just some options of feng shui wisdom that you're going to put in.
I'm yawning a ton. It's
Good,
you're
release
right.
it.
There's a release happening, which is really
And I'll send this out. You guys feel free to take anything from this.
Oh, you are going to send it so I don't have to do screenshots? Thank you.
Oh yeah, no, I'll send this out. It's just a Google Doc. And feel free to literally take anything from this.
Well, you know that you did those flips last week, and I never got much social media done like I had planned on this weekend. But I did start writing some stuff, and
Yeah.
I went back to that document multiple times because I took a screenshot of one page.
Yeah.
And I kept going back to help me frame it up.
Do you guys want this, because I've only been putting in Kajabi the recording. Do you guys want the slides too?
Oh my God, that would make it so much easier to go through and read. Yes, because then I can remember what we talked about and it's refresher.
I'll update I'll just put in all the slides that we've done. I have them all. They're saved. I just have to upload them. Done.
Yes, thank you.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, you guys don't have to make
Yeah.
more work on yourself, especially when I have it on my end. Okay, so let's
That'll
go
help with
through
the
this.
journal prompt stuff too.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go through this a little bit. I just started word vomiting. Okay, so here's a whole bunch of different problem statements. But feel like you're stuck in the mud, feel like you can't get shit going, feel like it's 2 steps forward and 4 steps back, feel like you want to just go back to bed and say, fuck it all. I know how you're feeling. You want to feel growth and movement in your life. You desire to release your inner creativity that you know is in there.
You know how many posts this is? You can start any of your posts and anything we do with those.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. It gets real easy. Okay. And then all you need to say is something like, hey, like, I've got you. I felt this way before. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to check out the colors in your space. Do you have a lot of browns? Here's why too much brown in your space could be making you feel like you're stuck. Or you could do something different and say, I want you to check out the colors of your office. And here's why painting your office green might be the breath of fresh air you deeply need.
Ooh, I like that.
You could even say, hate the color green? Like, no problem. Try these colors.
Oh my God, can I share just a personal story real quick?
Yeah.
So you know how I told you guys, I think maybe the first week we got together, that I had never done the seal the toilets ritual?
Yeah.
Well, I finally did it, but you know what happened for the first time in my entire life is one of our toilets plugged and overflowed everywhere.
Ooh.
That happened this morning.
After you sealed it.
Yes,
You sealed it up good, girl.
I guess I did. No money's going to be flowing out that toilet, but I had to laugh because, I mean, I did visualization, I did everything. I did a freaking phenomenal job, but I laughed because I knew that that had to have something to do with what happened.
What do you think in your mind that the toilet overflowing right as you were sealing the drains, what do you think that is in your feng shui world?
Well, I did the cure on Friday, and then that happened this morning, and I felt like I sealed up too much, but I didn't have any bad ramification. I don't know. What do you guys think? I didn't think of anything horrible when I thought of it.
Which gua is your toilet in?
Right above me. It's my son's bathroom. It's in this one, that family. Family bordering on knowledge and wisdom. Should I be worried?
You said it's in family and new beginnings.
Yeah, it's
Bordering
right
on
between
wisdom.
family and wisdom and knowledge.
What do
I
you
would all.
I've never had a toilet overflow like that.
I think if that happened to me, I would be like, well, maybe I just like moved it along and it happened quicker. Like probably a clogged toilet was like, it doesn't just happen. Like a clogging takes a long time a lot of times, unless something big gets put down there. Like what if
Well,
it's
I did
something.
say it was my son's bathroom. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. And it could be nothing. It could just be, but I almost would like to look at it as, it's clear now. Like usually when you unclog something, it's flowing even better than before the clog, right? And if it's in your son's bathroom, how long has it been kind of maybe somewhat clogged up and he's just maybe not said anything? Like how old is your son?
18.
Yeah, like maybe it's been like borderline clogged for a while now and he's just been like, never even probably noticed it if it's like my 20-year-old stepson, like oblivious to some stuff until it like literally overflowed and you had to bring attention to it and now it's cleared away and maybe things will like flow a little smoother.
Yeah, I guess it did freak me out a little after we started talking about it. It's like the too much water. Did something happen that I don't know?
So the way I like to look at
But
stuff like this is, for me, it's always, my home is always communicating to me And I think there's
Yes.
wisdom in everything that happens, whether it's positive or, quote unquote negative. So you can literally ask your home. I like to literally go around my space and be like, space, what are you trying to tell me? And then sit with that intuitively and like sit with it and meditate with it. Like, okay, what is this bathroom trying to tell me? And see
Yeah.
what flows in for you.
It's yeah, it's right in between family and community and wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah. Well,
Family and knowledge.
you're gaining tons of wisdom and knowledge in what we're doing. You're looking for a fresh new start.
Yeah.
So maybe in a way you actually did pull up something, and by seeing the clog, you're like, oh, there's a clog here. I
Oh
think
my God. It overflowed though. That's the part that blew my mind and it was, thank God it was clean water, but it literally, it ruined a rug. It overflowed the entire tile bathroom. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry I interrupted you,
No,
but
no.
yeah,
I don't think you need to sit in fear with it. You can ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me?
I like the meditation piece. I am going to go ask
Yeah.
because I'm usually in tune with that. So
Just go ask. I literally asked my closets the other day. I'm sitting here looking at a closet, and it's in my Tai Chi area in my home. And I asked it, I was like, closet, do you need a clean? And it was like, it's about damn time you asked. You need to get in here. And I was like, oh, okay, later. I asked it. I'm like, but that's how you start to trust yourself and the wisdom, because you can start to see how your subconscious mind is connected to your space.
yes.
You will always get what you need wisdom wise when you ask your home, what are you trying to tell me? That helps you feel more
I have kind of
confident. Yeah.
and I kind of have like almost like a devil's advocate. What if your toilet overflowed because it was like ready to overflow you with abundance?
Yes, that's what
you were
just popped in my head.
You were so drained when you slowed down the drain, you didn't realize how much was actually flowing.
So that's funny you said that, because what I had envisioned, you guys, is I had sealed all of these drains, and I was envisioning just money filling my home and overflowing.
Yeah.
So Marcia, that was exactly
So
where
you did
to
it.
go.
So that makes
So
you
did it.
hella good at manipulating the energy of your home.
I'm fucking good.
Yeah, you are. You're
Wow.
fucking good. There's a whole post in there. I overflowed my 18-year-old's bathroom, but it's not what you think. Oh, my 18-year-old's toilet overflowed this morning, but it's not what you think. Because immediately people will be like, okay, what did an 18-year-old do to their toilet?
I know.
But then you get to say, hey, I did this cure. And with the intention of, I will be overflowing in money. And here's what happened. You don't even have to sell in that post. That's just such a fun story.
Oh, and yes. And that is what I've been saying to myself and envisioning. And I am going to be overflowing with money, and water is money. Oh my God, you guys, that makes me feel so good.
and new beginnings and knowledge. Like
Yeah.
you have a plethora of it.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I'm glad I made this call today. No, sorry. I love our time together. So no, wow, that's great. Thank you for letting me share and analyzing that with me.
And when we stop leading ourselves with fear, this becomes so much easier. Fear of oh, what does this mean? Does this mean I did something wrong? None of that. When we stop leading ourselves with fear and we lead ourselves with love, all of this becomes so much easier. It becomes easier to write these posts, easier just to show up in the world this way.
That was just an aha. But yeah, you got to let go of that fear. And the fear of being seen is one of my big things. I love it. This has been wonderful. Okay, thank you.
Yay. So just to jump back in. So I just finished up this like pretend post with the final like few pieces of, so we dropped the feng shui shift or what you actually want her to do in her home. Then we follow it up with the feng shui wisdom. Why green? Green is linked to wood energy in feng shui. Wood energy helps us feel those fresh new beginnings that we deeply crave at the end of winter. So you see here, most people start their posts with this. Green is linked to wood energy. But you can see when we start with, feeling stuck in the mud, feeling like you need a little bit of a break from all this BS of winter, then you bring her really beautifully and naturally down to the feng shui wisdom, and she starts to care.
Yes.
If you just started off with wood energy helps us do XYZ, we're not really speaking to her lived existence. We're not speaking to what she's dealing with. And you guys are all dealing with this too. We're human, we feel this. And anything that you're feeling, you better believe that there's somebody out there feeling it too, and those will become your clients. So just yeah.
Okay, I'm full of personal stories today. I met with a realtor yesterday and I did his open house, and he was asking me about feng shui. And he said, well, you can't really advertise that because it might scare people away. And you guys would be so proud of me. I'm just like, no, it's not going to scare people away. It's going to bring me the right clients.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
I am not gonna, and I cowered back for so long of really not talking about it, but this is who I am and what I want to do. Look at you.
You guys, this is just me fumbling in the fucking dark, by the way. Like, you guys can do this too. I fumbled for years just to do this. So this is not like, it's gonna be like so much time before you guys do this. Like, no, you guys can do this like right now. You just keep practicing. You just keep doing it. You do it until it turns to joy, because it's gonna feel like shit, but then it will feel better. I completely promise. Okay, and then you follow it up by saying, want to completely change the energy of your home, or you can, you know what you can even do? Like my client, I just keep using Karen, like my client Karen, and then you drop in a testimonial if you have one, and then this is your new call to action. I have 3 slots for 2-hour feng shui consults where we will ensure you feel amazing in your home. DM me, amazing. For more
I've been
info.
using that. I've been adding that stuff, like
Good.
DM me something. I've been trying to do
Good.
that.
Start to train your audience of like, oh, okay, she's saying this now. They will start to reach out to you instead of just the reach out to me. Remember, she's resistant too. She doesn't know what this feng shui thing is. She likes you. She's interested, but she's not sure yet. Call her into your DM so you can have a conversation with her. She can see you're a real human.
I love it.
So, any questions before I move on?
Stacey, you might be getting into this later, but do you come up with a schedule or like a highlight? Like, do you just post as things come to you, or do you try to like that? That makes me stressed. So I try to have like, and I actually did an Instagram social media course last fall. If anybody wants to know the person who I did it with, she does them quite often, and it was awesome. Awesome. Anyway, she's all in scheduling, right? And so I don't know. I'm just like, but then I don't like. I find being stuck to a schedule is a bit strict, But I don't. If I was like, I don't want to be on social media all day, every day, right? Like, I don't want to just. So I want to have some structure. That's like the metal in me. But then I want to be able to go like a little more by the seat of my pants. So I don't know if you're going to talk about that at all. Like.
I wasn't, but you bring up a really great point, because I think when it comes to batching, scheduling, just having the spirit move you and speaking to your phone and creating a reel, I think there's different levels of what you will feel comfortable and confident in doing at different points in your journey. So I'm a proponent for every single one of those. Because early on for me, I had to batch. I had to be in the right energy of like, oh, I feel really good today. I'm going to write out a whole bunch of posts.
That's what I do.
And that's
I-
fine to do. It's fine having a
Mm.
schedule. I have a kind of a really flexible schedule of like Saturdays and Sundays. This is what I like to post because it's easier on my brain on the weekends to post those things. And then during the week, when I'm really kind of in it to win it, like my energy is here at my desk, I'm going to post some more of those wisdom drops, those kind of like hard stuff that comes in. So let me take a step back and explain some more. I had a coach last year who was all about don't batch, don't do anything, just fly by the seat of your pants. And I realized that's not necessarily, it's not the best advice, but I see where what she was trying to get us to go of the, oh, I have an idea, let's do it fast. Because that really is an easier way of creating content. It's a more authentic way of creating content, which is kind of where everything is going. But at the time, that was like a skill that was like 3 steps above what I could reach for. So her just telling me just to do that, I felt very pressured and I basically shut down and I stopped posting at all. So I think when it comes to batching, having certain days where you say certain things or flying by the seat of your pants and saying it as the spirit moves you, I think those are all really great ways that you get to pull from, do what feels good on any given day, and knowing that that will evolve.
I like to have some sort of structure because, I'm just myself getting over a cold. And honestly, like end of last week, the weekend, I really had zero desire. Like my brain didn't have the energy to create, and so if you have things in your pocket ready to go, it just makes life a lot easier. Or, I mean, I ebb and flow with it all the time with, like how much time I spend on social. So at least then if I have things kind of ready to go, it doesn't feel as time zapping. I feel like what I've been doing is my posts are structured and I've got kind of an idea schedule. But then my stories are just whatever I'm doing. Like if I went for a walk or a hike, or if I was lying on the couch, like I'll post that kind of stuff in my stories because it is more like just, I think, more in real time.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of where I've been finding that balance of like, because sometimes too, I've created a post that I know is not going to go out for like a month. And then when I post it, I feel like maybe this is something, I need to drill down a little deeper on. It's like, I feel like it doesn't feel like the same. It feels like a stale energy. Like the chi of it feels a bit stale because it's been sitting there for a while. Right. So yeah, I don't love batching. Like I would never batch like more than maybe a couple weeks out, I suppose. But even that, sometimes it feels like a bit stale. So
So
finding that balance is
it
key, I
sounds to
guess.
me, to reflect back what you're saying, that the next easiest low-hanging fruit step for you is to start to flirt a bit more with stream of consciousness kind of posting, that as the spirit moves you, and creating posts that don't go as far out. So having maybe one day a week where you're like, I'm going to write all the posts for this week if that feels good. Because I understand what you're saying of like, hey, I wrote this like 2 weeks ago, but now it's like, I'm looking at it and it feels sucky. Like it doesn't feel right anymore. And that's why people started saying like, post when the spirit moves you. And I get that, but sometimes you just can't reach for that. That is a confidence and a comfort level with social media that a lot of us are just not there yet. So you get to flirt now with, what is the next step for me? Is it writing more posts as the spirit moves me? Is it just having one day where I write all my posts for just a single week? What were you gonna say? I cut you off.
Sorry, no, I was going to cut you off there. Like I'm getting ready now to promote I'm going to do an online course. First, I'm going to do a free webinar on feng shui for love. Still trying to figure out a name, but anyway, that's what it's about. Because tomorrow is the 10-year anniversary of me meeting my husband, or first contact, we say, because we can't remember the exact date we met, but 10 years ago on Valentine's.
I like that.
10 years on Valentine's Day, he wrote me. And that was the first contact we had. So anyway, I'm getting ready to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. And then I'm going to do a free webinar. And then I'm going to eventually do, hopefully the next month or so, like a couple months, to start like a 4-week program, like a Feng Shui for Love Again program. So I want to focus my posting, not 100% solely on that, but like, I don't want to muddy the waters with like feng shui for health or feng shui for career or feng shui, even though I have all those ideas in my head, you know. So it's kind of like finding that balance where it does flow, but also like the purpose is, and you maybe are going to get into this because we're talking about sales, right? It's almost like creating that sales funnel. So it's like I'm toying with, okay, I want to talk about this, like, because again, at the same time I'm doing the love planning, I'm preparing to paint my office and redo my office. And I've had some hits because of that. Like I just took down stuff I've had from my childhood in my office. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I have to talk to my boss and tell her I'm increasing my rates. I've been talking about it for like 5 years, but tomorrow I'm having the conversation and I'm scared shitless because I don't know what she's going to say. But anyway, I don't care what she's going to say. Yeah, sorry.
That's a feng shui win. So basically, my brain was screaming as you were talking of write down all these stories. That's your content. You don't have
I've been
to
taking
overthink it.
pictures, like even so if I don't use it now, like I got before, because I knew I was like, okay, I need to take a picture of this stuff before I take it down. And
What you just said was a post in of itself. I took down an old childhood picture, and guess what? Wisdom drop flowed in 48 hours later. Oh, I took down an old childhood photo in my office, and guess what flowed in 48 hours later? It hit me like a ton of bricks. I needed to increase my rates. Here's why: me removing that photo gave me this divine wisdom breadcrumb of I need to increase my rates. And then what you're doing is you're linking the home to what she's experiencing. That is a very potent sales post right there. You don't need to overthink anything.
I'm gonna wait till I have that conversation tomorrow, just in case I get fired. And
I doubt you'll get fired. I know it's definitely nerve-wracking, but you won't.
Oh yeah, you know. But every significant raise I've ever gotten in my entire life was because like when I worked for people, it was because I asked for it, not because I just waited for it. But yeah, no. So yeah, I guess it's like being okay with sprinkling in the wisdom drops while at the same time bigger picture planning for something like a program. Like when you were planning for this vision program, I'm assuming you had certain amount of posts you wanted to do to talk about that, but then also you're dropping in your real life work as well.
So I can I tell you guys a secret about how I promoted this? I kind of didn't. I flew by the seat of my pants.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't actually make one post about it. I sold only in my stories.
Okay, interesting.
Go back and look. I didn't put one post about it, but I did that very purposefully because I know that feng shui practitioners are a portion of my audience, but they're not really who I'm aiming for. I love to work with trauma survivors in their homes. But I knew that all of you watched my stories pretty damn religiously. So I only sold in my stories. And I said in each of my stories, for my fellow feng shui practitioners, here's why you don't have to tolerate this anymore. And then I showed you my proof of like, hey, I'm sitting here with a very profitable business and it's completely done my own way. So you guys can play around with so many different styles of selling. I don't mean to make that sound like that's how you have to sell now. But that's why I sold, because I knew you guys were not my target audience. You guys were kind of a subset of my audience.
That's funny. Interesting. Like I would not be able to say how I found out about it through, whether it was your posts or your stories. I couldn't ever remember, like
just
one thing
happened to
jumped
start
out at me.
seeing it.
It just happened to start seeing it. Yeah, that's really interesting. And you're it's the second time I've asked, so this is a note for me. Like somebody's process behind posting something. The other one was something the Mindful Design School posted. Angie, I asked Angie in our mastermind, and she's like, I don't really know why we posted that. Like, just like, again, here's your like, she knew why, but it wasn't as like methodical as I had envisioned. Like, I assume everybody's got their shit together and has got like everything figured out. And it's like, meanwhile, when you pull back the curtains, it's like, no, you don't have to have it like all written out and planned out and figured out. It can just be like, kind of, like you said, wisdom drop or, yeah.
So there's a little bit of a limiting belief in there that you think everyone else has it all figured out and somehow you don't.
All
totally
those social media, the social media people are trying to make you think you need to have it planned out. You need to do this. You need to do that. I do mine in batches like we talked about, but for the full point of one, I'm still too scared to doing the wisdom drops.
That's okay.
And I like to
write them down somewhere.
Yeah, and I do every once in a while I'll do a reel, but I'll delete it. So I know eventually I'll start weaving those in. And I'm also starting to move away from the quotes because I'm starting to feel more comfortable with my knowledge to share my knowledge. So my whole IG is gonna shift again. Which I think is fun to look at everybody's Instagram because you can see where people grow and shift and level.
You can literally see it.
You can. Especially as a feng shui practitioner, because that's what we're trained to see, right?
Right, totally.
That was a great
can do this any way that feels good for you right now, knowing that you can plan things out if that feels good. You can fly by the seat of your pants if that feels good. You can do some sort of in the middle if that feels good. Really, what's
sorry.
Yeah.
No, and you might be covering this too, but I, with this planning to offer like a free webinar and then a love course.
Yeah.
I am planning some posts over the next couple days, but I don't want to give away like what I'm going to talk about, but I feel like a little bit like, I don't know, like I'm just going to say like feng shui helped me meet my husband. If you want to know some specifics of what I did, sign up for my webinar. Like, is that like cool? Cause it's like, I feel like a little bit like, again, maybe it's the salesy thing, right? I feel like that's a real salesy thing to do is like, to find out more, sign up for my whatever. But I don't know, as I'm talking to it now, I'm just like, fuck it. That's what I'm going to do. I don't need to tell them anymore. Like, it's up to me what I tell them in a post, a free Instagram post.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just say that feng shui helped me meet my husband. Yeah. If you want to find out more, then you join I'm going to give you come, you give to me by coming to my webinar kind of thing.
You can do it either way. It's whatever feels good to you in that moment. If it feels really good for you right now to be like, I don't have to give you shit. You come to me. That's fine too. That's totally fine. You will hear different schools of thought. You will also hear people say, just give it all away. That's fine too. I think there's really different schools of thought around it. And I think it's just where you feel like you are in life. And knowing that you can waffle between both of them at any given point.
Yeah, I guess I could not give anything away today, but the next week I could give it all away. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, guys, this is the first time I've done a free webinar. Like I've done lots of paid ones, paid workshops. So I feel called to do a free one, right? But that's great. Before I never did. So okay. Anyway,
see how that goes, and then you always get to deconstruct it afterwards. Of like, how did that feel? I used this marketing tactic. Did that feel good? Did it not feel good? Did I think it helped? And then you always get to try something different. Business is nothing but trial and error, which is unfortunately the most fucking frustrating way to do things. But literally no one can tell you what's right for you.
Mm.
I can't tell you what's right for you. I can sit here and show you all the things that I've learned that have helped me and help you unpack yourself, but I still can't tell you what's absolutely right for you. So you get to now start to reestablish your trust in yourself and say, okay, I tried this, that didn't work so well, or I tried this and that was great. I had super amazing attendance.
Yeah.
So just
Okay.
try. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're so welcome. Any other thoughts, feelings, or concerns? Okay, let me pop back into the presentation. We have some more examples in there. I will make sure I send that out, what I just jotted down. Okay, so I have a couple more kind of unclear methods that I pulled from Instagram that I found, I found scrolling this weekend. So the next unclear method is make sure 20% of space in any room is clear. Like I knew what she was trying to say, but if I was reading that, I'd be like, what are you talking about? It's clear of what? So I then say to myself, okay, well, if somebody has like stuff packed to the gills and there's really no open space, how would they be feeling? And granted, for me, this has come from working with decluttering clients. I know how these people feel. So some of this also just comes from working with people. But I know that if you feel kind of stuffed to the gills, you might feel trapped at home. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So for me, a post would be like, do you feel trapped at home? Do you need a quick boost of energy? Because we also know clutter stagnates. So we're not leading with clutter as saying clutter is going to stagnate your life and home. I'm leading with the desired outcome. Do you need a quick boost of energy? It's late winter. It feels awful right now. We all feel so tired. I applaud you for even getting out of bed today. But do you feel like you need another quick boost of energy? I want you to do this in your home. I want you to go look at your bedroom and create some open space. Is everything packed to the gills? Here's why that packed to the gills of your possessions is making you feel trapped. Here's why you're not getting that quick boost of energy. Here's why you're waking up every day feeling like, ugh. So you see what I'm saying? We're flipping it. You guys got this. And we can keep doing examples in our Q&A, by the way, especially if those are super helpful. So my last one on kind of this unclear method is, I found this on a post. Telephone poles directly in front of a house can bring stress and tension. If I read that, I'd be like, holy fuck. I'd go out my front door and be like, okay, where are my telephone poles? Like, that's just like, woof.
Not only that, but it makes you feel pretty helpless because you can't move a telephone pole.
Can't move them.
Yeah.
Exactly. Super
Yeah.
helpless. So here's a softer way of bringing this awareness to her without scaring her. So this becomes an inconvenient truth. One of those like things that it's just like very inconvenient to really know, but it's kind of, we have to say it, but we can say it in a more empowering way. So we can say, are you getting lots of headaches? Do you feel like some friction with loved ones? Do you feel like your anxiety all of a sudden is through the roof? I want you to go and check outside for these things. I want you to check for a large homes that overshadow your property. I want you to check for telephone poles that are out in front of your front door. I want you to check for, are you on a T section? And then you'd go in and explain why each of those might mean that she's feeling headachy, or she feels some friction, or she feels very threatened. Maybe there's a heaviness on her chest. But that's just showing her like, hey, these things could mean that. She could also be dealing with a bajillion other things, and telephone poles have nothing to do with it. We don't know. But you're just starting to show her like, hey, this could mean that. And then she has more curiosity instead of fear. She might then open up her door and be like, am I on a T section? Oh, that home is kind of big next to me. Like, oh, the telephone pole it's there. It's not really in front of my door. But then she's going to start looking at more of your content because you've piqued her interest. You haven't frightened her, but now she's curious. And then you could even say, I have dealt with this all the time. This happens so much in my neighborhood. Here's a testimonial from Karen, who was dealing with the same thing. Here's what we did. Here's how she feels now. And I have 3 spots open for feng shui consults this month. And then she gets to choose, okay, maybe I'll try this out with this person. Or she can choose to keep scrolling, but you haven't frightened her. Dee, when you were telling your story about the guy, and I'm so proud of you, by the way, for pushing back, awesome. But like that guy who's like, oh, but people will just be afraid of that. This is what we were talking about in motion. People are afraid of feng shui, and it's not their fault.
Right. But he was
Our fault.
curious enough to ask about it because he has a home that won't sell. And I'm like, well,
feng shui
I
would be
can
great for
tell you-
that.
Yeah. And I'm like, I can tell you right now, there's a lot of fighting. They were not very happy people. It collapsed my chest when I walked into it.
So Dee, that makes you a really good feng shui practitioner, by the way. If you could immediately walk in, check in with yourself and be like, oh, I know what is wrong with this home. That
Well,
makes
and
you
there's-
a great feng shui practitioner.
There's so much more. There's a culvert drain that goes across it. There's water around it, but it's all like swampy areas. So it's
Oh,
like on an
Really
island.
sad, needy.
It's at the end of a cul-de-sac. So
There's a lot.
I woke up this morning thinking I need to create some kind of feng shui for realtors. And I know they're out there, but what can I do for the local people on how to sell so I can come and tell them what to do with a
Yeah.
house that's been sitting for 6 months.
That's fabulous. Like people
So-
would pay lots of money for that.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. You could even do presentations to local realtor groups now that you're a realtor and you know all of them. Like they could pay you for those. Those don't have to be free. So
That's what I was thinking. And I woke up to that idea
Beautiful.
when I was kind of waking up this morning. Like,
so by unclogging your toilets, see how you're already getting that fresh burst of new energy and creativity?
yep. And overflowing with abundance.
Yes. These are your feng shui stories. This is how you start to trust not only yourself, but the wisdom too. You get
Yeah.
to trust the wisdom. I know so often we can't talk like this because we don't trust ourselves and we don't trust the wisdom. This is how
Yes.
you learn to trust yourself and the wisdom. You see all the ways that feng shui is impacting your life.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
I had another example here. So this was like basically what we were doing, but just figuring out how to frame feng shui problems and desired outcomes. So what do you think it would be like for someone living in a home with, and I actually want you to go through and do these when you have time, a specific type of floor plan, anything, doesn't matter. Just choose some sort of floor plan where you're like, oh, where you see this floor plan and it makes you feel a little funky. With a specific color scheme. For me, I talk a lot about the white and gray color scheme because that's in my feng shui lived existence of like, I know how that person's going to feel with an all white home and it ain't good. And here's how they fix it. Difficulty finding a partner. So Susan, you could be like, what if somebody has difficulty finding a partner? What might their home look like? What might she be feeling? What might she be experiencing? And this one's for
Can I
you.
tell a quick story with that? Because I
Yes.
have a real life example. So one of my good girlfriends is it's so funny. She's quite a few years younger than me, but she's celebrating 10 years of a very successful business she created. And I'm celebrating 10 years with my husband. And I want to build a successful business and she wants to find a husband. So we're kind of feeling like we're here and we're going to meet up here again in 10 years time. But anyway, so I went over to her house last week and I helped her feng shui or start the process of feng shuiing. And I'm doing it like as a friend thing. And we didn't do like, I didn't get a floor plan. I didn't get her to fill out anything. And anyway, when I walked in and I've been to her house before, but I don't always have my feng shui glasses on because I just find it's too tiring. But when I really started looking, she has this, like, she's very artistic. She has a handbag company. She's very creative. And she has this wall of artwork and it's all different types of artwork. Some of it she created, some of it's old. Anyway, there was almost like half of it was solitary people and solitary images, solitary animals. And like one was and so she, so she's taken the whole wall down and she's getting her room painted. And then she had this, it's just, I think it's funny. She's been waiting for this guy to call her, and she has this old fashioned telephone that's not hooked up in her living room. And she has lots of little tchotchkes of when she was a child, and she has a lot of childhood trauma. And she has like these all over her living room. And so, I was telling her all these things. I'm like, tell me if this is too much, if you don't want all this information. And I'm like, you're literally waiting for, I forget his name now, Jamie, to call you, and you have a telephone in your living room that's not hooked up. Like, she was like, it's crazy. And like, again, she's trying to let go of her childhood trauma, and it does affect her relationships. And but she has all these little mementos around from her childhood that, and anyway, so she's like eating it up, and she's like really, like, I'm so excited for her, and I can't wait to figure out see how she progresses and stuff. But it was just like talking about like the house of a person having difficulty finding a partner. I was just like, oh, wow, like there's so much here that we can do, and I really am excited for her and stuff. So, but it's just, was really interesting.
You basically just listed out 3 posts between artwork, a phone that doesn't work, and stuff that symbolizes
From
a
childhood.
challenging childhood. She's
Yeah.
finding her partner in these 3 ways. Those are all posts.
Exactly. Yeah. And she motivated me to take down things from my childhood, even though I don't feel like they didn't like, but it helped me then get rid of the fact that as a child, I had a lot of insecurities and was very, like, I was bullied and things like that. So even if I didn't have I guess it's the same. We both have our own, like things. And so it's just like,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Seeing it in real time. Your feng shui stories is what is going to change the game for you. You get to see it. You get to see it in your clients. You get to trust it. And the more you trust it, the more confident you are. The more confident you are, that comes through in your marketing. And then that comes through with just more clients, more money. Because you can sit there and look someone in the eye and be like, hey, you have trouble finding a partner? I can help you. I want you to go check your home for these 3 things right now. You get to sit across from someone and be like, I can help you. Beautiful. I love that story. So you have so much texture and information in there. So this is the example we're going to work on. And this is actually from my floor plan. So what might a person be dealing with, feeling, or experiencing if they have a kitchen in Tai Chi? Lay it on me. I'm going to write it down on our little, I was going to write it down here, but I don't think I can do that now.
So
Okay, lay it on me.
what is Tai Chi again? Because I didn't learn that.
The center. The center wellness, Tai Chi. Let me.
What do you call it, Dee?
Health. We just went by the Bagua names. Tish didn't go into like mine, where you guys are from. I just blanked.
The Chinese
We didn't go
names.
into the Chinese names. I'm moving to a different room in my house. Sorry, guys.
You're fine. I'm just trying to pull up that document again. So start laying it on me. A person with a floor plan in health and wellness, what might they, a kitchen in health and wellness, what might they be dealing with?
I think that having the stove, having that fire can kind of burn you out or deplete you.
Okay, let me start a new kitchen. Kitchen and Tai Chi. Okay, so stove will burn you out. Feeling depleted often. What else might someone be feeling or experiencing in their life?
I'm thinking anxiety.
Anxiety. Anything else?
You could also be feeling abundant and, abundant and blessed, I guess, or you might have a kitchen and wellness. Okay, right.
And the
I
whole
mean, the
thing is-
wellness, I guess I'm thinking outside the well, but I mean, we know that the middle gua affects all the other guas and vice versa. So I'm thinking, you could be feeling lacking as well. Well, like Marcia said, like the depleted, yeah. So tired, yeah. Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of cabinet decluttering, so it's a lot of storage, so
Mhm.
stagnation.
And it's funny you bring that up. My husband and I decluttered this weekend. So stagnation from all the storage areas, because it's a lot, right? That's a good point. Anything else that a person with kitchen and in their wellness area might be feeling or experiencing or dealing with? Doesn't have to be negative. Overwhelm.
Because there's abundance of water, there's abundance of appliances, all the cabinets. It could be, if you're cluttered cabinets, it could be overwhelm as well.
Electrical stuff. Yeah, yeah. I'm also going to add, just because this is me, dealing with inflammation.
That goes
Yep.
back to autoimmune.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have heat, extra heat in a space where it's more supposed to be earthy energy. Because this is me.
It seems like stoves are often out of command.
Oh yeah.
I have a galley kitchen, so mine is half in command, half not, but I'm just going to say out of command kitchen.
So any nervous system, really, I said anxiety, but anything to do with your nervous system might be,
Just call them
might have
activations.
issues. Yeah.
Or
Mhm.
issues. Cool.
See, that's what's, as I go, because I have the autoimmune disease, it's interesting how you guys came up with the inflammation and nervous system. I've been having a hard time relating that back to the home in that type of way. But anyway, it just gave me,
book, Feng Shui and Health.
yes,
That's really
It's
good.
great. Reread this book. I've gotten so much of this, like, if you have this in your home, you might be feeling this from this book.
and I got about halfway through it and I couldn't read it, and I might be ready again.
Yeah. You might
It feels
feel
like more of a reference one to me. I
Yes,
couldn't quite
it
sit down
does.
and read all of it.
there's a lot in there.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, let me see if there's any other books I really like. Oh, I like this one. She doesn't do this as much, but Maureen Kamala's
Yeah.
Good
book,
one.
Creating Luminous Spaces.
I got
She-
that one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've
She
been eyeing that
goes
one.
through her elements really nicely. And so she doesn't flip her script, so to speak, but she definitely helps me understand like what metal is, and that metal is authority and leadership, or if it's out of balance, it can be domineering. This really helps me understand not only somebody's personal chi, but what if their home has too much metal in it, what they might be experiencing.
It's interesting because we have these books, but you learn so much by reading them again where you are in your journey.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I just froze. Oh, nice. There.
Well, your toilet overflows.
Yeah.
You're unfrozen now.
Mhm. Your video is a little choppy, but your audio's been fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay.
But I also kind of thought that maybe having your kitchen there is not the worst either. Do we want to do some positives?
Sure. Tell me why it's not the worst.
Well,
Lay it
the fire does create earth, right? So
Yes.
and then also just like the making of food, like that's where you create your nutrition.
Good point.
Yeah, that's why I said like feeling abundant and blessed, because the stove is about wealth and health, right? So if it is set up properly, it can help you, like you said, nourish yourself to go out in the world and create abundance.
I like that.
Yeah. I'm looking at my Bagua map that I have, and it's about the root chakra, so it could also cause issues with like root, like pelvic floor things, maybe.
Stability. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But
then
also, I know it's not I know it's not related necessarily to like your organs. It says the whole body, entire family, whole body.
yeah, there's not an organ associated here.
No, but if it's the root chakra, then it could be, that's usually pelvic floor, bottom,
Mhm.
your root area, your root area. It's a
And actually,
stable, balanced, grounded, so you could feel unstable. So that maybe unstable, I'm thinking like mental health issues. I don't know.
so I want to be very clear. There's no right or wrong here. It's literally just whatever you think someone might be feeling and experiencing, both on the yin and yang side, positive and negative. So there really is no right or wrong thing. Like I have a kitchen in Tai Chi. I've worked with clients who have kitchens in Tai Chi, and we all look a little different. It doesn't mean that there's like one way that you can slice this. But basically what y'all did was you created all sorts of problem statements and desired outcomes from this, from just a simple exercise of someone who is a kitchen and wellness, what might be happening in their life. And this is all posts. So I can tell you, for me, obviously, with who my husband and I, who we are and what's happening in my home, we definitely have some inflammation. My husband actually has inflammation of like the root chakra area, interestingly, but we have a ton of love in our home. Definitely have some nervous system stuff, but we totally feel abundant and blessed all the time. And we love creating like nourishing food for ourselves. Sometimes it's hard to cook, but we really do enjoy eating very healthy here. So, but all of these are absolutely accurate. But these are the ones I know that I feel the most. But all of these are possible for your clients. So now you have tons of posts of here, let's take one real quick. Now we're running out of time. Let's take a positive one. So let's say I'm just making shit up now. Okay, do you desire to like eat healthier? So that's like the desired outcome. Somebody wants to eat a little bit healthier. So what you're going to do, here comes the feng shui wisdom. This is very, very simple, but go see what's happening in the very center of your home. What room is there? Why the center? So you dropped the feng shui wisdom, and now you're going to bring in the feng shui rationale. Why the center of your space? Because in feng shui, the center, oh, I kind of did this a little backwards, actually. Sorry, I'm being confusing. We're talking about the kitchen rather.
But I liked where you're going because that would work as well.
Let me leave it. I think I was just getting a little confusing because I was kind of leading more with the kitchen, but so what room is there? Why this? Okay. Why the center of your space? And here's how you could bring in like a personal story and not freak her out. So I would say for me, my kitchen is here, which means lovely, healthy food and lots of love, but also I need to stay on top of I can't type this fast, inflammation in my body. Why inflammation? So you could totally like start off positive, dip into the here's what I want you to pay attention to, come back to the positive.
Do you feel like it's too much information, or where do you draw the line of how long your post is?
So that's a really good question. So this is probably not too long, but this has way too many different ideas in it. I would like simplify it down to one idea. This is more just to kind of show you guys how to create the problem statements.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, check my emails. They're probably like about, I don't know how many words they are, but I try and leave them about here. And in terms of social media, I'm actually starting to flirt with writing less down under and just getting the main idea of my thought, very short, very succinct, putting that on a reel or on a TikTok, and then not even over explaining underneath my post. So a good one to actually look at is on my Instagram. I did this the other day and it actually blew up. But it was the one I most recently posted about decluttering and, you know, why something about trauma, why organizing and decluttering is hard for trauma survivors.
Oh, nice.
What I did in that was everything that I'm teaching you guys, like why as a trauma survivor, you might have trouble organizing and decluttering. So I hooked them with the problem statement because I know this to be true based on the population that I work with. And then I brought in the feng shui tip, brought in the feng shui wisdom. And then I kind of softened the inconvenient truth with, hey guys, you're not actually lazy. Here's why decluttering is hard for you. So you can actually see I'm doing this in real time. And then I gave very, very little at the bottom.
Nice.
So just go look through some of these, but that's a very good question. And then I literally just said, do you want to reach out? DM me Sanctuary for a spot of whatever I was selling. Coaching.
Got it.
Start there. Because at this point, don't worry about being too wordy or too long. Just feel like you're getting your point across. Because then you can always go back in and pull things out. Okay. At this point, it's just get it out of your body. Because the more we keep it in, the more you're going to feel a little nauseous, sick, emotional disquiet. I know for about a solid 6 months, I wasn't getting this out of my body enough. And I kind of kept choking on my own saliva. I'd be laying down watching Netflix. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm literally choking. And my husband runs in and I'm like, nothing, throat activation. I've got to go get something out. So like you can see this in real time. So.
Oh my gosh, I never realized or put that together.
Yeah. If you're not saying what you need to say, you might be choking on your saliva. You might feel like your throat is locked up. You might feel like you're very dry mouthed all the time. I can always tell now if I'm resisting saying something because my throat, I will start to choke on my own saliva. It's almost like my epiglottis doesn't close correctly. Fun times.
I'm learning.
So that's why I keep saying, check in with your body as you're doing this work. Because not everything will come up into your conscious mind as a thought. Often our limiting beliefs live in our body and they don't even have words. They just live in our body, but they'll come up as a throat chakra activation, pain in your chest, your heart hurts, your shoulders have gone up, pain in your lower back. I just did a inner child healing with one of my one-to-one decluttering clients where we literally opened up her left kidney because she had an inner child who was caught in there. And she just voice memoed me just now. She's like, it's been 3 days and I haven't had pain in my left kidney in 3 days. And she's like, this hasn't happened in years.
Oh my God.
So it lives in our body. So I keep saying, check in with yourself. I'm not saying that because I think it's fun to fill the time. I'm saying because our limiting beliefs live in our body.
Yes.
I can fill the time anyway with, tap dancing for y'all, but you don't want to see that. Okay, I'm going to stop. We only have 10 minutes left, but I did not finish all the slides. So let's do this. Any questions or answers or any questions? And we will put what we didn't finish. Let's do this in week 4 during our Q&A. Next week, let's do inner child healing. I will still put up the slides. That way you guys can see what we didn't cover. But I know we also talked about doing an IG tutorial today. I'm sorry we didn't get there, but we can do all of that in our Q&A week. Okay. Any questions? Yeah. Any questions in our last 10 minutes? I'm out of water.
Thank you for being flexible and allowing the organic conversations to happen.
Totally. That's why you guys learn best, is just interrupt me. Nobody wants to be spoken to for 6 hours. That sucks. No, just let me know. And if I'm going too fast, let me know too. Or if you don't get something, let me know. And if you're like, you keep saying that, but I hate what you're saying, let me know. It just means I need to say it differently.
I have to ask, do you really get people like DMing you with that word versus like if you just say keep in touch?
Yeah.
Really? Because, yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, no, I have people. And then what I do is I will, same thing I did with you guys. I drop them. Let me find one here. This guy, he didn't actually end up booking, but he wrote me Sanctuary.
Okay.
And then I left him a little voice message. And then I dropped him the link to book with me.
Okay.
Like, mhm.
Do you do like for your one-on-one clients, do you get them to do a floor plan and all that, like the general things we were taught? I feel like when I get to that point of explaining that to people, people just, it's like, oh, that's more work than I want it to put into it. People want to us. I think a lot of times people think you'll just come into my home without any prep and tell me what to do. So when I explain to them, like, the more you give us before, the more I can help you. I don't know, like I haven't had this a lot, but I have had a couple people like I guess this is where people drop off. It's just one of the parts of the process where you weed people out because I feel like they're like, oh, I got to draw a floor plan and I have to, and I'm like, here's how I can help you draw a floor plan. I can give you tools. I try to make it as easy as possible for people. But yeah, like I have a video I send to people, but yeah.
The video is
Anyway.
great too. I found that when it came to the floor plan, the more confident I felt about saying it made them feel like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Mhm.
But I
Okay.
know for me, especially when I was first starting, I was like, and I need a floor plan.
No.
And those are my clients that actually gave me really shitty floor plans. I should show you guys, we should just have a good chuckle. I should show you some of these floor plans. But you know what? It's not their fault. I said it really like, oh, I need this. And I did not have this. This is new, guys. I created this maybe in the last 6 months because I had such a mental block around like, I need a floor plan from y'all. But I do find though that the people who come through my Instagram, the ones that like book with me because they follow me on Instagram, I could tell them I need them to pull their pants down, cough, and spin around 3 times. They'll be like, oh, okay, I'll do that. They just trust you more. Whereas the people that came from the community, and I'm sorry we didn't get to go through this today. I have a whole slide on like people who come through Instagram and people who come through your website. The people who come through your website tend to be much colder. They're not sure. So they're really not sure what they need. And it's a lot of text on a website to be like, and I need a floor plan, and here's how you do one. So I just found that the people who came to me through the community were people who were either in abject fear because they read something on the internet and they were like, I can't sit with this fear feeling. I have to have a feng shui practitioner come in here. They were people who already knew about feng shui and they just knew they needed to book and they just happened to find me and my website and they were like, oh, I'll just book with this chick. They didn't really care about me so much, which is fine. And I also found that they're really cold. They don't know who I am. They don't know what kind of feng shui I do. So they didn't trust me as much. So when I sat there on the phone with them, when they call and they're like, okay, well, what do I need to get started? And I couldn't come with that energy of like, and you need a floor plan, but here's how you do it. It was harder for them to trust me. Whereas the people who come through my Instagram, like I said, like I could literally tell them to jump off a roof and they would be like, oh, that makes total sense. I'll do that. I'm not gonna tell them to jump off a roof, but they just trust you in this different way because they literally get to like be with you every day. So.
And what do you tell them? Do you just tell them like by hand is fine? Do you,
I give
do you
them
kind
this.
of
I give them this and I can share this with you guys. I literally create, this is in their welcome email. Once they book, they get a welcome email. For me, it's automated now, but that took me time to get to. And so I have 3 different ways that they can create me a floor plan. But first I say, why do you need a floor plan? Here's why we need a floor plan. Here's why I need you to spend time doing this because it's actually helping you. It's not helping me. I say, this is the foundation of our feng shui session. And then I say, what is a floor plan? I pulled this from Google. This is what a floor plan looks like. So already they have in their brain, oh, that's what a floor plan looks like. And then how do they get me this floor plan? I have 3 different ways. They can hand draw. They can do a Google search on Zwillow or Realtor for a floor space. A lot of times these are already uploaded into these websites from the last time their apartment or their home was on the market. And if I do a consult where I'm not in the area, I actually don't go in anybody's house anymore because it's too much energy for me. But I will pull up their address either on Zwillow, Realtor.com, and then on Google Earth. So I can see the landforms around them. But then I actually like look inside their home before I even see their home using this. And then there's also all these apps. And some people like this shit. There's all these apps. And you know what? My client just found another one I have to put on here. So some people really like this. And then I just tell them.
Yeah, there was a girl in the CC last week that was asking for floor plan generator recommendations. And I kind of was like, why is she asking that?
That wasn't to lay the, so sorry, go
she
ahead.
like drawn like it made me wonder, like, is she drawing floor plans for people?
I've seen people charge for that they'll draw the floor plan for you.
If that feels
that would be hard though. Like, how would you even know,
they'd have to get you information.
Yeah.
They'd have to almost draw for you. Yeah.
So
I love this.
Yeah. I'll share this.
Since I pay a lot of money for my floor plan software and also 3D rendering I can do. It's just something I have in the back of my mind of how can I help people. Maybe I need to just do how to draw a floor plan workshop.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways you can do this. I don't ever want to draw someone's floor plan. I love, Marcia, that you have that wisdom. Like, rock on with what your innate talents and skills are.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, I also don't want to take away from, like, we were kind of taught that, like, it can be revealing what they do and don't draw and the missed skill. So I almost like want to more voice, like, hand drawn is totally fine.
You can let them know that. Be like, hand drawn is totally fine. If your brain is freaking out with how you're supposed to do that, I will do it for you. It's extra, but here's what I use. Here's how I do it because I have this interior design background. For me, I don't want somebody to not get a consult because they can't wrap their brain around a hand-drawn floor plan. Like, that to me just sounds so silly. So if you want to hand draw it, go for it. But most people honestly get me stuff from Google search. And they still get great consults even though they didn't hand draw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Just to offer it if it's a stress point.
Yeah, because I know it is. I know when we were going through school and they told us we had to hand draw it, I was like, okay. You know, I did not feel comfortable with that. I don't do math. My brain doesn't work this way. So I get it. Why would I want someone to hold back from this wisdom that could really help them? Because that's just a silly barrier to entry. So I give them these options.
I taught
last-
community college for 5 years, and so I've seen everybody's attempt of drawing floor plans. Like, you're not gonna surprise me.
That's awesome.
What, Susan, what were you gonna say?
Oh, that last sentence there, please do not email a photo. You mean like a photo of a floor plan? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you ask for photos too? Or video on top of that?
So usually I ask the person to be able to like take me around their space somehow. Because I want to see it. This is a personal preference though. I have done it
Yeah.
both ways. I have had people send me videos where they literally walk in their front door and they're like, here's the living room, here's the kitchen. That is totally fine. Just through doing it many, many times myself, I kind of want to go with the person myself now, because like they might gloss over something that I find significant and I'm like, turn back. What's that whole closet situation you got? And then they're like, oh, why did you have to point that out? So, you know, you get to do whatever feels good at where you are, knowing that this is an evolution. Don't let this become your barrier to entry because you think it has to be perfect.
I also like the video or walking with them because I can sense, this might sound crazy, I can sense entities and I can sense predecessor energy. And there's times I'll be able to see it in the space too. So it gives me a whole view of what's going on.
So Dee, you need to be telling us that like, and by not us, I mean like the world, that you have that capability, because that's not necessarily something that every feng shui practitioner has. That
I know, but it's
sense predecessor chi. You can sense when vibes are off. That's incredible. Like you need to tell us that like you can do that.
I can do that. And every once in a while I've brought it up, but it's not I'm still not comfortable with it. Like I'm working with somebody right now whose son died. And it's really hard for me I've already seen him and he's already visited me. And so it's kind of weird. And it's a friend. So the fact that he would be pestering me made sense, but I didn't realize it was him at first. So yeah, it's hard to share that information. And I'm working with, I've gone through classes and stuff like that to help dial in. But it's a gift I've always had, but thank you.
More inner healing will help you get to a point where you don't see it as and I don't want to put any words on you, but like you see it as like this amazing positive thing that you have complete control over. And like it becomes a selling point for people. Like, could you imagine?
I want to get there.
Yeah,
I want to get there.
You absolutely will. There's no doubt in my mind, because 3 years ago, when I first started getting the idea, like I was given the name Sanctuary from God, and then it flowed right in that I was supposed to help trauma survivors. And I was like, you fucking suck. I am not there yet. I couldn't even basically admit to myself yet that I was a trauma survivor, let alone write this in a post on Instagram and be like, hey, I do this.
I know.
But you will get there. 3 years later, this is what I do now.
Yeah.
The reel that I just said, like, hey, here's how I know that you, as a trauma survivor, you're struggling with clutter. That got 15,000 views.
Wow.
15,000.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Is that viral? Is that considered viral?
It went mini viral. I call it mini viral.
Mini viral.
It went mini viral. I woke up, I had all these new followers and like a ridiculous amount of DMs. But that's because you get to the point where you're doing so much of the inner work where you are able to share those gifts. We're resisting our gifts because we're just not there yet. And that's okay too. You know where you want to go. You have your Northern Star. And so
Yeah.
your job is just, all of our jobs really is just to keep doing the healing work. So we remove the limiting beliefs that tell us that this is weird, we're making things up, I don't get to have the big business, that's for other people, not for me. It's all lies.
Thank you for saying that. It's hard. It's hard when you,
It's hard.
I
Yeah.
love having it, and I know I love going into the houses, and that's part of the reason I got into real estate too.
Yeah.
It's, you can see things, but I'm also making sure that my price point is high enough because I don't want to, I can't do it from an emotional piece of going into a house that's full of trauma.
Mm.
I'm going to be very selective.
Mhm.
And I know that sounds bad, but it's like
No, not
give
at
me
all.
600 and above, and I can deal with that trauma.
Yeah.
So, and I keep freezing.
Well, we can hear you. We're going to touch on pricing next month, but just to start zinging this around your brain, you get to price basically whatever the hell you want. We did not quit our jobs or go down to part-time to say, oh, I don't really want to make this. We don't have to answer to fucking no one anymore. So you get to
Exactly.
price however it feels good for you right now, knowing that that price will probably go up.
Nice.
So you just let that soak in. So if you want to price this as $888 to do an entity clearing, you price it as that,
Dang, that's a good idea.
however much you want. Just chose something nice and juicy and big.
Love it.
Yes.
Well, thank
This was,
you. Oops.
oh no, this was a motivation for me about pricing. I just started following Amanda Gibby Peters when we started this, and somebody recommended her, and she's doing maybe she's already done it now, a live 2-hour workshop on the Bagua,
Mhm.
and each ticket is $249. I was
I
like,
clicked into that one too. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I was
Feel-
like, yeah. I'm like, you go, girl.
Notice how you're feeling. Does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? All sorts of conflicted, ewy, why? Oh, she doesn't get to do that. Or yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
See all, because it might be very conflicting too. We're going to tackle our money stories
Yeah.
next month.
Yeah, it brought up a lot, both like kind of negative and not negative and positive. But yeah, I was like, yeah, but if anything else, it made me feel like this can happen. This can happen. Yeah.
Yeah. You get to have,
1099, it doesn't have to be 1099 or whatever, like 11.99.
that's always a place to start. We talk about energetic pricing next month. You price what you feel like you can get behind. And then as it feels better, you go up, you go up, you go up. My coaching started for 4 sessions, a total of 444. Now, my coaching well, it's more now, but for let's say 6 weeks, which is now my smallest package, it's over 2,000.
Yeah.
3 months is almost 4,000. Like you just get way more comfortable with upping your price when you have more confidence, when you've seen a lot more people. So
yeah,
the sky is your limit.
And we can do it. Thank you.
Yes, you can. Any final questions? I know I've kept you guys over 10 minutes.
No, thank you, Stacy. This has been great. And thanks again for, like Dee said, going off course and adjusting. Yeah, it's always good conversation.
This
That's
is the
it.
first
Will
time
you
I'm running
send-
it. Yeah.
Oh, will you send me a link to book a session? I can't
Yes.
find how you did it last
Oh,
time.
yeah. I was thinking about you. Yeah, I will. And just a quick aside, this is the first time I'm running this. You guys, you get to tell me what you feel like you need more of. Of like, Stacey, you spent way too long on this. We fucking get it. I needed you to spend longer on this. Like, that's fine. You tell me what you guys need. Like, I think I know, but really, this has got to be a divine meeting of the minds in the middle. So you guys also can tell me what you need.
Awesome.
It only makes it better. Yeah. Okay. Love everybody. Have a wonderful week. I'm here. I'll upload all of the thingies and
Right.
I'm around. Mwah.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.